So as doctors, actually, we try to educate patient on ways on how to become healthy. And the problem with the pandemic, there were a lot of behaviors that changed to the point of hindi sila maganda, no? So we have to start now and try to revise those behaviors, those negative behaviors, and start again on how to become healthy or healthier for those who have started already. So the thing is, what happened during the pandemic, no? During this time, all of us actually had a lot more stress, no? We got to think about a lot of things, right? And then how will we work when we go out? Do we get COVID, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things that we get to think now that we were not thinking about before the pandemic. And then because of the isolation and because of the you cannot really go out, no, in fear of becoming infected, we got to be in a more what's the word there? Sedentary lifestyle. We do not really walk anymore. Before we do jogging, we were forced not to do it because of the quarantine, no? And then because of the quarantine itself, our social connections became disconnected. So this added more to our mental stress. Wala na tayong outlet with talking with our friends. Still different, no? Although we could call them by phone, but the actual the moments that we are with them and get to joke with them, with our friends and families. So it's really nice, right? And we got And because of the COVID, we got disconnected from them. And the last one, of course, we get to do missed appointments with our doctors. So that's, in a way, a short summary of what happened during the pandemic. So having said that, our cholesterol actually, we expect it to have increased because of our food intake. Our diabetes actually may have become uncontrolled, as well as our blood pressure. And of course, with all these three, the risk for developing heart problems is there. Okay? Oh, what happened? Sorry. There we go. So how do we go back to the road of becoming heart healthy? So as Dr. Vergere said, we want incremental improvements. We want to have health literacy. Okay? So for doctors, we call it back to basics, but personally, I like to call it understanding the basics. Some of my patients come to my clinic and tell me, Doc, I want to lose weight. Doc, I want to exercise. Doc, I want to eat healthy. So the initiative is there. It's just that we don't know how to do it, right? So let's focus on 4 issues that our time constraints will give us. Stress management is one. Let's focus there later. Okay. So how about healthy eating? These food are the more common ones we like to eat, especially now, no? And then of course, during the pandemic, this one is made these food easier for us to acquire. So pindot lang cell phone and then I get to eat crispy pata. Before I used to clean it myself, do it myself. No? Our cooks do it for us, our mothers, our parents, or us, we cook it for ourselves. It takes time. But now it gets easier with just one click of a button. However, please understand that these are not the only ones that are available in your food delivery app. The question of what is healthy to eat is still out there, no? These are the foods that are healthy, and they are also available in your food delivery apps, no? So personally, my favorite actually is here is tinola, although I actually am having difficulty. What's the difference with sinampalukang manok? It's hard to do sinampalukang manok in Manila. Okay? This is healthy. The other stuff are here, no? Gising-gising, laing, sinigang na bangus, pinakbet, and then hilaw na ubod or something like that. I do eat that. Okay? So these are healthy, right? But why do we not choose to eat these? That would be the other issue. So again, if you're telling us that there's not a lot of healthy things to eat, not really. Meron din naman. Okay? What else? Ito. Di ba? Sinigang na baboy, yan, gising-gising, inihaw, tortang talong. Yeah. So these food are healthy. So there are choices. So just we need to improve or increase our scanning of our apps. All right? So there are choices of healthy food to eat. Now, going back, remember in our educational years, elementary years, high school years, I don't know, 40 years ago for some, 30 years ago for some, we were taught about the food pyramid. Let me get my pointer here. There we go. The food pyramid, di ba? We were asked to do a quiz on this, of course, but it's hard to remember, no? That's why right now, the idea is this one. For us to better and more understand how to eat, it became as simple as this one. Get a 9-inch plate. Half of it is filled with fruits and vegetables. 1/4 is rice, and 1/4 is whatever your ulam is. Okay? That's easy, right? Remember this one, 9-inch plate. If you're trying to diet, don't get a big plate. Okay? Kasi common na yan eh. Parang psychology, you want to fill the whole plate, right? So that's one of the easy or shortcut ways of doing it, okay? So again, half of the plate with fresh fruits and vegetables, 1/4 with ulam, and 1/4 with rice, right? So that's how nutritionists will tell us now. How about physical activity? Again, because of the quarantine, we became sedentary. Although last year, dumami na yung mga nagsa-cycling and jogging, whatever. No? Although personally, I haven't resumed my jogging since the pandemic. I know. Okay, so what is the recommendation? That's always the question. Please understand, of course, that if you are sick with any diseases and you feel not comfortable starting to exercise, you might want to ask your doctor first how fit or what level of exercise you can do. However, generally speaking, the recommendation is you do about 30 minutes of brisk walking, moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. When we say most days of the week, that's 4 days. No? So yung sinasabi sa akin minsan ng patient na, Doc, I walk 2 hours a day. Good for you. Are you overdoing it? I don't know. Maybe. Again, it just takes 30 minutes. Now, whether you do it in the morning, lunch break, or at night, doesn't matter. Exercise still exercise. Before, I used to do it at 9 p.m. at night. No? Because I finished my job around that time. I begin my day early. I don't have time to do stuff. No? So that's how I try to fit exercise with my life. Okay? When we say moderate intensity exercise in Tagalog, mararamdaman mo na tumutulin ng konti yung tibok ng puso mo. So, mobility, you walking about 2 kilometers or 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day, it's still exercise, but it's not really, you could get more if you do brisk walking rather than just walking. Okay? The Philippines also has its own version, the Philippine Heart Association. We do have the 52100. Mas stricto tayo, 1 hour of exercise per day. I think the reason there is when we say gusto namin grade mo 90, when you get to 80, okay na yan. So yun ata yung rason doon, no? So however, when I tell my patients, do exercise 30 minutes, 1 hour, that's fine. That's my, that's the limits I tell them, okay? So what counts as moderate intensity exercise? Yun sila, brisk walking, hiking, dancing, no? Cycling for some and then swimming for the more affluent people. Swimming is actually the best because it doesn't put any strain on your joints. However, again, it's hard. However, for some people who live in condominiums and subdivisions, there are swimming pools there. No? So you might take that to advantage. Dun sa mga wala, brisk walking is fine. Okay? And of course, cycling. A lot of people are into cycling now. Again, try to do the amount of exercise that makes your heart beat a little faster than usual. For those who have yung mga pedometers and exercise fitness watches, try to increase your heart rate by 50% of your baseline. So that would be the tip. Okay? That would count as moderate intensity exercise. Para simple lang siya. All right? So now let's go to the third part, stress management, the more important part. And it came to the limelight the last year or so because of the pandemic. Now, mental health. It's hard to do because of a lot of stresses. We are overwhelmed with a lot of things to do. No, our job requirements are becoming more and more. Our personal requirements are getting more and more. Our social requirements are getting more and more also. Personally, My problem here before was during the pandemic, we got into a lot of Zoom webinars, Zoom consultations. And then in the latter parts of the pandemic, our face-to-face consults became resumed also. So I'm doing two things at the same time. It was giving me a lot of stress. No? So the idea there again is I got to realize multitasking is really not a good thing. And then when I try to research and inform myself on how to de-stress and improve my mental health, these are the things that I learned and I try to apply. One, again, avoid multitasking. When you multitask, you try to you put your brain into a lot of things to think about, no? So that by itself puts a lot of stress. And when you do multitask, you do not perform better. Actually, you perform more poorly. No, so rather than doing 3 or 4 mediocre things, just do one very good activity or very good project. Okay, and then schedule na lang siya. After you do this, then that. Okay. And then, of course, practice conscious presence of mind. What does that mean? You're doing this, and yet your mind is somewhere else. So, example nun, when we drive, di ba, nagda-drive ka, tapos may iniisip kang iba, mababangga ka na lang. No? So, again, try to put your mind into the moment of what you're doing. So, lately also, again, I've been trying to listen to more music in the car para mawala yung iniisip ko nga, no? So, kasi sometimes talagang automatic na pumupunta sa isip mo eh. If you haven't finished whatever you wanted to finish, it's still there, no? So, try to do a lot some other things that maiba yung iniisip mo. So, I try to learn to listen to music in my car till I get home, okay? And then, of course, say thank you. Remember, during the pandemic, a lot of us had suffered, a lot of us had lost a loved one, a lot of us have lost our jobs. So there are things that we should be thankful for. You still have a job, you still have a life, our loved ones are still with us. No? Even if you had suffered from COVID, you know, my patients who have suffered from COVID, when they came back for follow-up sometime later, there was really a change in their perspective. They were more appreciative and thankful. Na, Lord, thank you, nabuhay ako. Because you understand, no, the difficulty of the mental stress of being admitted and isolated and knowing that the risk for death is really high. So they became more thankful. So that's one of the more positive things that came out after their debacle. Okay. And then the fourth one here is remind yourself to switch off. Switching off, what does that mean? I hate my cell phone. I really do hate my cell phone. As a doctor, I cannot do away with it. No? When there's a patient, I get called on, no? Especially with my specialty, I do operations on emergency heart attacks. There's no schedule for that one. So the more patient you have, the more texts you get. And remember, we cannot work 24/7, right? So you really need to have your mind switch off a little temporarily. So, for example, no, to put it simply, when you're at school, when we were at school, there's a recess and a lunch break, right? So the recess is a break, okay? The lunch is a break. However, we're doing working lunches and working dinners and even working breakfast now. No? So what do we mean when we say we switch off? Personally, in the morning, when I wake up, I never look at my phone first. Okay? I spend around 5 minutes thinking of trying to say thank you, I'm alive, and then do my bed. That's one way of saying that's an accomplishment, no? And then do breakfast or take a bath or whatever. And then after all those things, that's the time I read my email, I read my messages. Takes me about 30 minutes to do all of those, no? So that's not bad. So that's time for me to get myself centered, no? And get ready for the day. Also, remember, there are a lot of patients who come to me that feel they are stressed and they don't have time for pahinga, no? Like I said. So, merong patient din nagsasabi sa akin, Doctor, why don't you go to work? Why don't you have clinic during Sundays? My only free time is Sunday. No? So I tell them, if I do that, I'm working 24/7. That would break me down early. No? If it's an emergency, you should go to the ER. If it's not an emergency, then the clinic time is okay. Right? Then I keep mentioning, even in the Bible, mentioned on the seventh, God rested.
Ano na nangyari
We do that, no? So again, Sunday is family
Hindi
day,
pa siya busy, no?
4 p.m. Then, ayan. All right. Thank you, sir. So there you go. So what else? These are some of the things I found out also. I never do meditation. I never learned I should. It's always recommended by whoever, no? Massages, it's nice. You know my idea for exercise before. I like massages, but I never like exercise. I never like jogging. Especially if you are not a jogger before. After you jog, your body aches the following day, right? So I know that getting a massage during post-exercise is good. It relieves the stress also and makes you not feel the post-exercise pain. So what I did was, whenever I wanted to do massages, I do jogging first. So I made massage as a prize to force myself to jog. That's what I did before, okay? And then of course, ito, I'm doing this now, writing it down. When you go to bed, it's hard to sleep immediately because there are a lot of things in your mind racing. So what I do and what I read about is you write down your thoughts. Because when you write down your thoughts, no, not type it in your cell phone, you write it down. The act of writing it down actually makes it na parang whatever was in your mind is put into paper, and that sorts of relieves some of your stress because what's written in the paper is in a way permanent, no? It won't go away. So you don't have to do the action of trying to remember it until tomorrow, no? So that's one of the things I've been doing recently also. And then caffeine, ito here. I will confess I do about 2-3 cups of coffee a day. People ask me, Doctor, di ba coffee is good? I read it's 5 cups a day. So, okay. I'm a cardiologist. You know, coffee makes you palpitate. And if you have a heart problem, you don't know if the palpitation is because of the heart problem or because of the coffee, or the coffee might exacerbate the palpitations or the heart problem. So those kinds of things, no? So, generally speaking, coffee is good. 1 cup. Try your limits, no? But however, too much of a good thing is bad. Coffee will make you perk up a little, but it will get back at you later. Yung mga tinatawag na parang sugar rush in a way, merong drop later. May ganun din sa coffee, eh, no? So, what else? Yeah, so try to reduce your caffeine, okay? And then what else? Ito pa isa, identify your stress triggers. If you're, I have a story here. There was one clinic before that I used to go to. However, the patients there really are, sabihin natin, hindi naman nakikinig. So, pasok here, labas there, your advice. No? So, I really do not feel well about those. However, may mga pasyente kasing ganun talaga, no? So, na-stress lang ako lagi. So, what I did was, I got out of that clinic, no? So, binitawan ko siya. So, I have less income, but I have more peace in a way, no? So, kung ang stress mo yung TV mo, tigilan mo. Kung ang stress mo yung cellphone mo, bawasan mo. Kung yung stress mo yung dumi ng bahay mo, linisin mo. So, parang ganun lang siya, okay? And then, of course, exercise nga. The thing about exercise, you think about it like this. When you exercise, you increase your energy reserve in a way, okay? So that energy reserve makes you work better, makes you work more. So kinakaya ng katawan mo ngayon yung stress nung gawain mo, nung trabaho mo. Okay? So that's how I explain to my patients sometimes. And then of course, enjoy life. No? Social connections are really important, especially your family. Family has been one of the more has become a lead during the pandemic, di ba? Parang na-realize talaga natin the importance of family. So hopefully we keep that post-pandemic also. Okay? Ito, my favorite kwento with patients. When we tell them to relax, so the patients will tell us, Doc, I did a vacation. Oh, good. Kamusta weekend? Kapag pahinga ka na. Nakabawi tulog. Very good. Yung iba, napagod, Doc. Nagkita kami ng barkada, napainom. The others, sarap, nakapagbora kami, Doc. Eto, pagod sa biyahe, wala pa ako tulog, Doc. The other ones, wala masyado, Doc. Nood lang ng TV, napuyat ako sa Korean novela. So, when patients come to me and tell them, and they tell them they're stressed, of course, the recommendation we take a break, no? However, what do we do usually when we are on a break? When we take our sick leaves, vacation leaves? Sinasagad din kasi natin, no? Long weekend, pupunta ka ng ganon. So, napagod ka sa biyahe. Or very early morning or late night travel, and then you go back Sunday, late night, and then very early in the Monday morning, papasok ka na naman. So, it's not really rest. So, we should factor that into our schedules also, no? So, yun lang naman yan. Inuman is not rest. Remember, when we do alcohol, there's still some negative downer in our body. Okay? And then this one, like I mentioned, I hate my cell phone, but I cannot do with it. So, you try to limit it, no? Yung iba may ginagawa na na parang there is no notification at a certain period of time. So, ganun siya. 1 hour siguro a day, lalagyan na ng break na walang sounds. No? Things like that. If you can do away with some of these things, go ahead. Okay, last one. Regular medical checkup. One of the things we missed the last 2 years, this is the issue I feel. Most of us think that if there are no symptoms, there's no problem. But we know that's not true. However, we still believe it like this. Okay? So the problem is, when you do have a problem, it's usually on the worst side already. And that's the time you can come to the doctor, right? So remember, high blood pressure doesn't have any symptoms. Diabetes doesn't have any symptoms. Cholesterol doesn't have any symptoms. But the complication, that's the time you have a symptom. Okay? So, do not wait for the symptom to arrive because that's usually complications na, stroke, heart attack, etc., etc. When I asked, during our original meeting, I was asked, ano ba yung usual nga daw na symptoms? No? You know these, chest pain, short of breath, neck pain, jaw pain. However, I'd like you to focus on these three, especially in the elderly and diabetic. Some elderly people or diabetic people, they just sweat. There was let's say, after walking somewhere or doing gardening, ganyan, or holding the grandchildren, napansin mo, parang they just sat down like that, pinagpapawisang malamig, no? And then usually sabihin natin, oh lola, drink water and relax, no? However, that could be a sign of a heart attack already. Again, for the elderly and diabetic, no? As well as yung bigla ang nahihilo, no? Anxiety, in a way, that's true. However, the better word here is you feel uneasy. It's not anxiety. You know something's wrong, but you cannot point your finger at it. But remember, you are diabetic, you are a little on the elderly side. Those are the two things that we look first before we say your uneasiness is a problem. Okay? So when you have these things, when you see these things in your elderly loved ones, of course, see a doctor. Okay? So, remember Dr. Vergara, what she mentioned. Health literacy, we mentioned that one. Health behavior strategies, okay? As doctors, our focus actually is not on the endpoints, but on the prevention side, that like what Dr. Vergara said. We want to prevent things, no? So, the hospital actually has a wellness program. So, my patients usually come to that unit to ask for nutritional counseling. They don't know what to eat, what can we eat? To ask for an exercise regimen, to ask for weight loss management plans. No? So, wellness is an area of the hospital or your units or your hospital where you can go to preserve or improve your well-being. No? So, ang hospital is not just may sakit ka. Okay? A hospital is there also to help you improve on prevention. Then, of course, when you're diseased, may mga diagnostics yan. And this is what I do. And of course, you do not want that. That is that part that's life-threatening already when we reach there. And that's not cost effective anymore. That's naghahabol na tayo no? And of course, going back into the world is something that we do also in our hospital, rehabilitation. So we get to hopefully make you feel a little younger, a little stronger from your baseline. Okay? So, ito. When you have a problem, try not to do this. Because remember, we were talking about anxiety earlier. Dr. Google will not make you feel comfortable because the results are not filtered. No? It will only make you more anxious. So I tell my patients, I cannot take out what you have read because it's been there. So try not to read too much. There are websites that you could read or there are topics that you could read. For example, calorie counting. No, I ask my patients to do that. Oh, you do internet. You're trying to lose weight. Then research on calorie counting. Okay, that would be a better topic to research. If you're looking for ideas on health management, usually it's the yung mga website with the hospital or with the school, American Heart Association, Philippine Heart Association. Those are the websites that provide patient information that are a little more credible. No? So again, Dr. Google makes you more anxious. Try not to do that. My last few slides, health is an investment. You work, so you earn money, but you don't spend that money to get sick, okay? To save, do operations, okay? Your best investment is your health. So you could enjoy your money in your retirement age, not just to pay for medications.